Listen, I am here with Lily Brooks O'Brien from The Big Show Show. Lily, thank you very much for joining us and talking to us.
Yes, of course, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, before we get into the show, tell me how are you and the family holding up while we're going through this whole pandemic thing?
Yeah, we've been doing pretty good. We've been trying to make sure to have some family time and make sure to stick together. And something that we've been doing is taking weekly drives down to the Pacific Coast Highway. And it's just been a really nice way to kind of get out of the house. And it's such a beautiful drive. So we've been doing pretty good.
It's a great idea just to hop in the car. You're by yourselves and you can see the ocean and the mountains and all that. Absolutely.
It's so beautiful.
And then when you get back home, you can watch The Big Show Show.
Yes.
Now, it's a cute title. It's called The Big Show Show because The Big Show is a real person. Tell me about him and then tell me about how the show is happening.
Yeah, of course. So The Big Show Show is a family comedy about WWE wrestler The Big Show. And it's basically about him after he's come home and retired from wrestling. It's about him and his three daughters, Mandy, Lola, and JJ. I play Mandy, the middle daughter. And it's basically the whole family adapting to Big Show being home more, as well as my half-sister Lola, or Mandy's half-sister Lola, moving in with the White family and her just figuring out her place in in her new family. So yeah, it's just such an amazing family comedy that's super lighthearted, and especially now when the whole family is stuck together and we're all in this quarantine thing, it's just such an amazing show to watch together as a family.
And The Big Show, he's called The Big Show because he's big, but you really have to explain how big he is. That guy is huge.
Yes, he is 7 feet tall. Wow. And he is huge. When I first found out that I was in the final two for The Big Show Show, I looked up pictures and videos of him wrestling, and I was like, oh my God, he is huge. So I was a little bit nervous, a little bit more than nervous. I was just I was like, how tall is he actually going to be? Because I've never met someone that's 7 feet tall.
When you meet him in person, what is it really going to be like?
So I met him and he, I remember the first time I met him, he stood up from a chair. And the chair was really low, so he didn't seem as tall. And when he stood up, I kept just looking up and up and up, and I was like, oh my gosh. So, but after I first met him, he was so kind and so sweet. Definitely a big teddy bear. And after the first 3 or 4 weeks, his height just kind of didn't matter. It didn't matter anymore because he's just such a kind person. So his height didn't really seem that big of a thing to me anymore. But something that still surprises me is how big his hands are compared to mine. He took his wedding ring off once and I could fit 3 fingers into it.
Wow.
Crazy.
Like a hula hoop.
Yes.
So he's The Big Show and you are Mandy, the middle child. She has
yes.
with that. She's also has political aspirations, and she is not a fan of Taylor Swift. Explain.
So in the show, my character Mandy is very ambitious. She's definitely an overachiever. So her goal in this show was to run for lower school president. So at first she doesn't think that she's like, I'm going to win this. I'm doing so good. And then all of a sudden Taylor Swift comes in. Not the real Taylor Swift, disclaimer, not the real Taylor Swift, but it's this boy named Taylor Swift who is really popular and everyone likes him. I mean, his name is Taylor Swift, so who couldn't like him? So he basically, Mandy is like, oh my God, this guy's going to win the election because he's cool and I'm me. So basically Mandy and Taylor Swift start dating secretly. And if you want to find out what happens after that, make sure to tune into the show and find out what happens.
I love the fact that he takes full advantage of his name, Taylor Swift.
I know, right?
Dropping all her song titles all the time.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Now, Lily, this is not your first job, not the first thing you've done, but I would imagine that having the title Netflix attached to it is a pretty big deal.
For sure. Honestly, this is such a dream come true for me. If you would have told myself a year ago that I would be on a Netflix show, I would not believe it. It was in the top 10 and I would not believe you. I would be like, that there's no way. And honestly, this is so amazing. And every day after, like when this came out, it was just such a dream, and I couldn't have asked for anything better.
A Netflix show that I think it's very important to point out that the whole family can watch. Because a lot of times we think of Netflix shows as, stuff is a little bit more adult, a little bit, some of the kids have to leave the room for some of the shows. But this one is seriously something the entire family can watch. You don't have to cover your eyes. You don't have to have earmuffs. Everyone can tune in.
Yeah, so something that my family has kind of struggled with a little bit during this whole quarantine thing, and we're all trying to bond as a family because we're not allowed to leave the house. We've been trying to find shows that the whole family can watch together. But the Big Show is definitely one of those shows that there's a little bit of something in it for everyone in the family. So if my brother, he loves wrestling, and the Big Show's in it, and then my sister really relates to JJ, as my sister is the youngest, and I relate to my character, and my mom relates to Allison. It's just like a show that everyone can watch together. And
you don't have to be a fan of wrestling, though, to get it.
No, I mean, honestly, like a lot of my friends who watched the show didn't really know a lot about wrestling or anything at all, but they still watched the show and they were like, this is so good. So, I mean, the thing about it is that I feel like a lot of people would think, oh, it's all about wrestling. It's actually more about the family than it is about wrestling. And I feel like it's such a good show for the whole family to watch. So, yeah.
It really was. It was really a pleasure. Now, do we know if season 2 is happening? Can you give me any scoop here? I'm looking for scoop.
So we don't know anything yet. I promise that if I did, I would tell you, but we don't know anything yet. Hopefully we will know really, really soon. We should know in the next couple of weeks or month, but I'm not sure when we'll be able to tell everyone. But as soon as I know, I will put it on my Instagram. My Instagram is Lily Brooks O'Brien, so make sure to tune in to my Instagram to see if we get a second season, which I would love. And of course, we'd have to wait for this whole quarantine thing to kind of calm down a little bit more in order to start filming. But yeah.
I have a good feeling about a second season.
I'm going to be honest, I do too. I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but the show is just such an amazing thing for the whole family to watch. And I just feel that everyone really would enjoy it.
And what other show can you watch where the star is 7 feet tall? What other show?
I know, right? There's no other show that the star is 7 feet. 7 feet tall.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Lily, thank you so much for joining us today. And everybody, make sure you tune in to The Big Show on Netflix. It is a little slice of fun for the whole family. Thanks, Lily. We'll see you on TV.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.